Excellent customer service is very important.
Customers want to feel that you respect them, that you are there for them.
Just making sure the customer is satisfied.
I like the fact that I can communicate personally, not just over the phone.
At the end of the day, they know that they have that one person they can actually call on.
You want to treat that person how you would want to be treated.
We work 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. I try to make every experience a wow experience for the customer.
Crooked Island evacuees recount their terrifying ordeal surviving Hurricane Joaquin. Acklins residents plead for assistance in the aftermath of the storm. The F&M says it could take years for the damaged islands to recover, plus the Anglican Church taking steps to assist impacted residents. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NB12 starts right now. Top news tonight, terribly shaken but happy to be alive. That is the state of Crooked Island residents who were flown to Nassau yesterday because much of the island is unlivable in the wake of Hurricane Joaquin. The group was taken to a New Providence motel last night, but the storm victims say the conditions were so bad they could not stay there. Eventually, someone who heard of their plight stepped in to help and booked them into the Malia on Cable Beach for the night. Our Candia Dame sat with the two sisters at the hotel today and has their chilling story of survival.
After riding out the ferocious storm in Crooked Island, these sisters spent the night here at Malia with their young children, 6 children among them. They came in last night aboard an aircraft after they were told that they had to leave the storm-torn island. They have nothing left. They're homeless, but they tell us that they're grateful that their children are safe and really happy to be alive. The sisters say they woke up around 6 a.m. Thursday to heavy rain. Because their house in Mosstown was leaking so much, they decided to leave and drive to their mother's house in Landrill Point as the weather deteriorated further. But they thought it was just another rainy day. They had no warning that a monster hurricane was barreling over Crooked Island. At their mother's house, conditions were worse. It was there that they got a text message from another sister that they were in the midst of a Category 3 storm. All hell was breaking loose. They quickly loaded their children into 2 cars, braving the elements again to find a shelter.
We found a shelter like in Church Grove, the Anglican Church. And by the time we reached there, it was okay. Like 10-20 minutes later, debris from the roof started dropping in. The rain started getting hotter. And we was like, you know, this roof could blow. We was actually watching the roof lift. Just keep lifting. So everybody just say, look, here, we gotta go. By the time as everybody rushed to the back of the rectory, the roof gave way, but it lined back down. And our cousin Mario was transporting the children to the 2 cars, trying to load up everybody.
To get out of the church?
Trying to get out the church.
Because the roof was collapsing.
As soon as everyone was out the church, the roof just gave in and a piece of the roof fall on the car.
The sisters and their children headed to a place called the Ponderosa, which is where their mother was at this point. By then, they had lost all communication to the outside world. As the hurricane emptied its fury over Crooked Island, they thought the Ponderosa would collapse. 21 of them crammed into a bathroom, praying, spending many hours there, hoping to stay alive. So you went into a bathroom. How many of you?
21 of us.
21 of you in a bathroom.
With kids in a bathroom.
A bathroom? Mm-hmm. What was that like?
All was running through my mind was anything happen, everything have to fall on me because I shield my children. I said, if this roof give way, I have to shield my children, so take.
But you survived. You must be thankful for that, no doubt. And your children are all fine. They're smiling. They're kids. What did you, when you went back to your house, what did you find?
Nothing, just everything underwater. Everything was underwater, just about destroyed. I just sat there like maybe an hour or two, just I don't want to do nothing because, you know.
The women say they swam through bodies of water to find food for their children. Most of the island was unrecognizable. Delancey's sister, Tanya Roberts, a 27-year-old mother of two, says driving through the storm was sheer terror.
I mean, it was so bad. When we were riding through the community, a capital trying to get out of it, everybody's house was starting to blow down. Water was that high. Trees were all over the road.
What was that like? What was going through your mind?
Honestly, I was just praying to God that we make it out. It was bad. My cousin had to stop in the road to move trees and build it. It was bad.
And you were thinking, no doubt, about your children.
Straight true. Just hoping that we make it out.
You had no warning.
None at all. None at all. When they give warning, it was like after 2 in the evening, and they didn't even give no warning for us. They give warning for Central. It was...
Spending so many hours without electricity and without communication, Roberts says they lost track of time. She says she did not realize yesterday that it was her birthday until they were evacuated to Nassau.
My sister came and she's like, hey, happy birthday. It's like, my birthday's not today, my birthday's tomorrow. So she yuck out her phone, go on a calendar, and show me, actually, we didn't even know the day, we don't know the time, we had nothing over there. And I was like, wow.
So you essentially missed your birthday.
Yeah. Hoping it would have been the day. Yeah, I missed my birthday. It was that bad over there. We don't know the time. We was just depending on the sun. When the sun go up, we wake up to try to go search for food.
Like many storm victims, this family has practically nothing left. Through it all, the children still smile, but the need is great.
We need, like, clothes, deodorant, shoes, toothbrush, toothpaste.
Basic things like that.
Yes, Mom.
Were you able to bring anything at all with you on the plane yesterday?
No, Mom, only some things.
Just a few things.
Yes, Mom.
So at this point, it's a matter of waiting to see what happens next for this family. The sisters say that they're anxious to rebuild their lives, and they look forward one day to returning to Crooked Island, which they say will always be home. Reporting for NB12, I'm Candia Dames.
Residents of Acklins are pleading with the government and the public for help after Hurricane Joaquin left many of them homeless and hungry. The causeway leading to Lovely Bay was destroyed during the Category 4 storm, cutting residents of that small community off from the rest of the island. Storm surges also ripped apart many homes, leaving nothing but empty shells behind. Vonnie Toot visited Acklins last evening and filed this report.
The stories of what Acklins residents endured during the passage of Hurricane Joaquin will break your heart. I'm at the home of two teachers from Central Acklins High. During the storm, they lost their refrigerator, their stove, and as you can see, heavy rainfall and storm winds blew out their doors.
Slipping outside the water. Right, so how do you think they're wet? Wet. So you're trying to put over what you can cool to cool, but yeah. God is still good, man. I'm not worried.
Meet Arnold and Denise Hope. The Guyanese couple lost everything last week when Hurricane Joaquin ripped into Acklins. But like their surname suggests, they haven't lost hope. As the storm approached, the two teachers moved frantically to pile all of their possessions onto their bed. But that was no match for the storm surges that burst through their glass doors, drenched everything they owned in waist-deep seawater, and swept away their fridge and stove.
Used to be the sink, that gone. All right? All the cupboards, they gone. The fridge gone, the stove gone, the fridge gone.
Salty clothes cover every surface, and two drenched mattresses dry out against a wall outside. But Hope says his greatest concern is where their next meal will come from. You see, the only grocery store in that area was destroyed and the food inside was swept away.
There's one thing I'm worried about. What's that? The only food store has been devastated. So if you need to buy anything, there's no way to go to buy it.
Just a few houses down is Ivel's Bed and Breakfast. Once a dream getaway for visitors to Acklins, the damage Joaquin caused is now the owner's worst nightmare.
I had no idea this is what I was going to come home to. I thought it's just a minor damage, but this is actually, I don't know. So these are actually leaves? These are seaweed.
Water burst through the garage door, ransacking this guest bedroom and sending furniture floating.
It was once Donnell room, but look at there.
What is that, a chest of bureau on its side?
That's the chest of drawer. And the bed head, I don't know where it went. It's underneath the bed, okay.
Velma Gibson Ferguson says when she arrived at her business to scope out the damage, she also met the refrigerator floating in water, parts of the roof resting in a master bed, the floor covered in seaweed and ruined furniture. However, she says she was grateful that only one of her buildings was affected, and she was able to take in other residents who lost their homes during the storm.
But in spite of all that, I have 6 rooms there that everything is fine. And I'm able to help some of those people who have lost their home totally. They are living in the back there, and we are able to help them out.
It was a similar story as we drove through Masons Bay and Snug Corner Acklins. Soaked mattresses sat atop vehicles, and many homes sustained roof damage. Meantime, all that was left of these homes were empty shells with no doors or walls. But nothing could prepare Michael MP V. Alfred Gray, Labor Minister Shane Gibson, and South Beach MP Cleola Hamilton for what they discovered in Lovely Bay. The flooding was so severe, the senior government officials had to hike a ride with a team of Defense Force officers deployed to the island to help with recovery efforts. Along the 45-minute drive, we came across this family of 3. They parked their compact car at the edge of the water and attempted to walk to Snug Corner in search of food and a satellite phone.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, okay.
We're going into Snug Corner.
Well, listen, by the time you go down and come back, you'll still be here trying to get to Snug Corner.
Keep y'all going for the ride.
Who you trying to call?
Listen, man.
Who you trying to call somebody?
Yeah.
We can try and make.
When we finally arrived at the causeway linking Lovely Bay to the rest of Acklins, officials were shocked to find it gone. The tiny community resembled a war zone as the newly paved roads were ripped apart and buildings collapsed into the sea. From there, it went from bad to worse. This driveway collapsed under one resident's SUV while a truck fell into a ditch.
We was really scared in there, but thank God for prayers.
Lovely Bay resident Shamika Delaveau says nothing could prepare them for when water burst through the kitchen door.
So I had to tell the children, go up in the bound bed and just stay there. We had some containers just in case. Yeah, and we just hold on, man.
And so I noticed all of your furniture is outside.
Oh yes, everything has been destroyed. From a piece of the roof is off, and the furniture, the bed, the air conditioner, wave just grab it and just take it out, and it was like nothing. It was terrible, it was scary, but I just had to keep the faith just for my family.
Because they are cut off from the rest of Acklins, the mother of four says basic necessities like food and water are scarce.
If it's possible, we need food, we need water, and if we can move to another place, if the government could do that for us, it would be so thankful, you know, because right up and now, we don't have no place to go. This is home. We don't have any place to go. So if it's God's will, help us.
Minutes later, Delavo's prayers were answered. The U.S. Coast Guard helicopter landed in the middle of Lovely Bay, bringing residents much-needed food, Vitamalt, and water. Michael MPV Alfred Gray says his heart bleeds for his constituents.
It's difficult to find words to express the devastation that occurred in Acklins and Crooked Island. The best I could say is that we are thankful that no lives were lost despite the destruction, which I've been able to see for myself.
Gray says the level of destruction in Lovely Bay is so great, residents may be forced to relocate. He says he intends to make recommendations to government on how to help these residents rebuild.
I do not know what the recovery period would be, but I could say that if the government intends to rebuild at all in Lovely Bay or to assist in the rebuilding, it's going to be a long road ahead. I have some suggestions that I intend to make to the government with respect to Lovely Bay itself.
It will take Acklins residents months and maybe even years to recover from the devastation caused by Hurricane Joaquin, but they all say they're just grateful to be alive. Reporting from Acklins for NB12, I'm Voinik Tood.
Days after Hurricane Joaquin pummeled parts of the Bahamas, officials have now made contact with Mayaguana to find out how residents there fared during the dangerous storm. Island Administrator Zephaniah Newbold was set to meet Michael and PV Alfred Gray at that island's airport this evening. According to reports, although there was flooding, Mayaguana residents fared well. Gray traveled to the island on a 5-seater plane yesterday afternoon to determine the level of damage sustained during the storm and to see what assistance residents may need. However, when the plane touched down on the deserted airport runway, no one could be seen, and flooding made it impossible to get to nearby communities.
It is difficult because the water level is so high, and it doesn't seem to be only here. It's probably right along the pond area.
I'm flying over, you saw the whole area flooded.
Yeah, it's flooded. Okay. So we'll go back and come back in a few days. Hopefully it'll be okay then.
Gray instructed the pilot to fly over the southern island to alert residents, but no one ever came. Officials were also unable to reach the administrator by satellite phone. Government officials eventually left Mayaguana not knowing if residents were in distress or in desperate need of help, something Gray said was a cause for concern.
We were not able to get to the settlements in Mayaguana. We spent about half an hour, 45 minutes at the airport, hoping that somebody would come out to greet us, having flown over the island settlements. But my opinion is that they were not able to get to us. And after a while, we had to leave. And so, devastation is all around.
Gray had said efforts must be made to communicate with residents of that island.
But I'm hoping that over the next few days, we will be able to see all of the islands, make a total assessment of what is required for rebuilding, and wherever it's possible, we will have to make some very hard decisions, perhaps even moving some people from where they are now to where we think they ought to be. That may be a long shot, but everything is on the table now.
When NB12 returns, the Free National Movement gives a status report on Hurricane Joaquin. Stay with us.